Welcome to episode 42 of Thought Bubbles, sparkling insights into community engagement, coming to you from my office in McLaren Vale, about 45 minutes south of Adelaide in South Australia. Today I want to talk to you about how to engage with a troublemaker, and this episode has been inspired by this brilliant cartoon called What Rebels Want From Their Boss, produced by rebelsatwork.com and shared by my friends Vali and Katrin on Facebook, so thank you both of you for sharing it. I loved it because it talks about, as a boss in the workplace, how you can manage the people who perhaps don't go with the status quo, or aren't afraid to challenge it and aren't afraid to ask questions and are perhaps a little bit rebellious or different to other people who might just go with the flow a bit more. Whether you're a politician making local, state, federal, maybe even global decisions, or whether you're simply a volunteer in a local community group, or a parent on a parent-teachers governing council at your local school, whether you're in a workplace and you're working on a project that maybe has to engage with the community in some way, we often have these people who we consider to be troublemakers skirting around our projects, very interested, asking questions, challenging things, disagreeing with things, and sometimes when they're let loose and they're not on their leash, they're out in the community and possibly spreading information that isn't quite factually correct. And so today I wanted to share a few of my thoughts around how to engage these so-called troublemakers. Now this brings me on to my definition of a troublemaker. What is a troublemaker? Well, when I was thinking about this before recording this episode, I looked at that Steve Jobs quote that I knew had some nice descriptions of people that I think I'm trying to get to. He said, here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. Now it's that last bit that I think really nails it for me. It's the ones who see things differently. And so when you're working on a decision or a project and you've got people on the outside who are seeing things quite differently to you, they're perceived as troublemakers. Now these people, albeit that they may create extra work for you and that they challenge you, they are good to have around because of exactly that. They challenge you. They question the decisions you're making. They just want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And so in a few of my tips about how to engage with a troublemaker, my first point is perhaps we should stop calling them troublemakers. And that probably starts with me. I call myself a troublemaker. These are just passionate people who are interested, who aren't afraid to speak out, who are genuinely concerned about something and want to be heard, but we perceive them as troublemakers. And the minute we can stop calling them troublemakers, we can start working with them a bit more proactively and not being afraid to say, okay, I'm here, I'm listening, tell me what you're thinking. Because often these people who challenge the status quo, or who aren't afraid to ask questions, are actually quite smart and probably have a few good ideas that they might be able to contribute to your project, initiative, decision, whatever it might be. We also need to acknowledge that these so-called troublemakers, that I'm not calling troublemakers anymore, care. They're simply passionate people and they're giving up their time to talk to you, or to try to talk to you, or to talk about your project. They really do care and they're passionate. Certainly don't give troublemakers lip service. Don't give them the corporate line of, thank you very much for your contribution, we'll be in touch. Or thank you very much for your contribution, please keep an eye on our website for an update. That is not the way to treat a troublemaker. A troublemaker needs to feel heard, they need to feel respected, perhaps a phone call, an email, something personalised to that so-called troublemaker to acknowledge that they have been heard. And this leads me on to my final point, which is probably the most dramatic of the points, which is invite the troublemakers in. Invite them into the inner circle. Tell them that you can hear how much passion they've got. You can tell how interested they are in what you're doing, and that you'd really like to get them on board to work with them. Give them a specific piece of work to do. Get their energy and their passion focused on something that is useful for you. Bring them into that inner core. Give them the trust, and you'll be amazed at the productivity that you get from a troublemaker. Enjoy.